going down to our conversation, thanks, Courtney. I've heard that too. I also know many within mainstream Judaism today do not believe in angels or demonic warfare.
That's not true.
And
the book do.
That's what I said. There's so much. Anyway, you can. But anyways, do you want to comment on that? Like, I guess the diversity amongst Jewish understanding of angels.
The vast majority of Orthodox Jews believe in angels and believe in demons. Now, the Rambam also believes in angels. His famous statement was that he didn't believe in demons. Now, groups like Reform don't believe in either. Does the Torah require you to believe? Depends. We're playing with semantics here. Angel just means messenger. The vast majority of times the term appears in Torah, it's talking about a human being. It's not talking about an actual, I guess, a Greek understanding of some angelic being with wings. The bigger question is, what's a cherub? Because cherub have wings, but I think people have redrawn or redesigned what a cherub could be with what appears in the book of Ezekiel, which means that because of a later understanding, now they're able to draw pictures in the bottom of Chumashim of what the ark supposedly looked like, and it shows two beings with human faces when nowhere in the Torah did it say that cherub has a human face. That's only in the book of Ezekiel. People say that was influenced from Assyrian society. I think that a cherub has a face of a bird.
But I mean, the basic Jewish understanding of today is almost like the book of Revelation with Christianity. This is going to be the end times war, Gog versus Magog, total destruction.
Well, you don't have to go to Revelation. It's in the book of Daniel mainly.
Daniel,
Gog and Magog is a misunderstanding of Ezekiel and Isaiah. All this is Jewish. In terms of the animals, I think the leopard is the only animal. Is it the leopard that appears in Revelation that doesn't appear in the book of Daniel? But apart from that, it's tied into Daniel and Ezekiel.
All right. Okay.
Well, I have something.
Go ahead, Beverly. What's going on?
I'm excited about the conversion coming up for me and nervous at the same time. So is that normal? I mean, I think about the different things, talk about the easy laws and then the more complicated ones. And for me, there's, just simple things like on Shabbat that we have to be careful to not do. It makes me nervous to know that those are the heavy laws for me. And
so when you convert, you're not liable for every command that you don't know either exists or you don't know well enough to keep. This is why Israel accepted the Torah without receiving the whole Torah. The Torah was given to Israel through a long transmission through the wilderness, right? I mean, from Exodus 22 to even the end of Deuteronomy, even though Deuteronomy is understood as a repetition of the law, there's new laws that appear in Deuteronomy that don't appear elsewhere. So, but this whole notion, when you convert, you have to know all the laws, because if you break one law, all of Israel suffers, is a stupid notion. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. God doesn't punish people for laws they don't know exist, unless they're natural laws. They're really where the notion of the 7 laws came from. There are certain laws that you don't have to be told not to do. There's a lot of work to do in terms of dissecting passages in Scripture, even the prophets, from a rational perspective. I really try not to comment on stuff in Torah that I haven't researched and I haven't made a video on. And if I don't have anything insightful to say about it, I'll just stay quiet. But there's just so much. Even Daniel chapter 9. I did Daniel chapter 9 because it's the most popular verse among Christians in Tanakh, or at least one of the most popular chapters. That even the way Rashi explains it aligns more from a Christian perspective than a Jewish one. But that's why I forced myself to go through it, and I was able to find different ideas that I could bring to the mix. This is why, I just won't comment on things that are metaphysical unless I can explain it in an objective, rational manner, but that anyone can see, yeah, that's what it's trying to say. Like my whole notion of Isaiah 53, talking about the martyr of God or the martyrs of God. I think anyone who goes with me through every verse in Isaiah would realize that that's what it's talking about, not necessarily excluding Jesus and not only speaking about Jesus, but the notion of someone being sent to wicked Israel and being made to suffer, right? I think that you have to be taught otherwise to assume that it's speaking about Israel. Yes, it's Israel speaking, but I think that it's dishonest to say that it's Israel suffering here, if at the same time, you're not going to make the claim that you believe in 2 Isaiahs, because don't forget, it can't be Isaiah. You're speaking about Israel suffering when Isaiah existed before the Babylonian captivity, before Israel even suffered as a nation.
You consider yourself an investigative reporter. Is there anything in the works you're looking into at the moment?
Today I was researching the whole notion of Pekuach Nefesh because I'm pretty upset that the synagogues are still closed. So then I was really trying to research what does halakha have to say regarding the parameters of Pekuach Nefesh, of saving a life. The Dine Sakana, pretty much, they're saying the reason these synagogues don't want to open and how one Orthodox Jew could condemn another one for not wearing a mask or not locking down is because one has to save a life and this and that. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, some people use that measure that says that one who kills one person is like he killed the whole world. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you could destroy the whole world to save one person, which is really the scenario that we're in nowadays. I mean, it's such a small percentage of people who are losing their life compared to the vast majority of people who are losing their whole livelihood. The closest thing I could find to this is in Shulchan Aruch. It says that to find out if something's a real sakana, a real danger, which means that you could put aside commandments. The example it gives is Shabbat. Now, when it gives the example of Shabbat, it means because that's such a high mitzvah that anything beneath that applies. You first have to run it with 3 experts, 3 mumchim, to see if what the consensus there is, and then you take the opinion of 2 out of 3, and then that's how you know if something is a true danger. Now, someone could say, well, the vast majority of scientists are, in my opinion, on the wrong side. However, that doesn't mean that you have to go with what the vast majority of scientists or doctors say, because there's other doctors, definitely more than 3 of them, who are teaching the other way too. That pretty much left me in limbo, because it means that from a halakhic perspective, someone could overreact and condemn someone else because now they're calling it a Chilul Hashem if you're davening in someone's backyard in a breakaway minyan and this and that. While other rabbis are saying, what are you talking about? This is nonsense. You have less than 1% of a chance dying. It's only really affecting people 80 plus who have some pre-existing condition. So I was left in limbo because I didn't find something I could give over in an objective manner, which is really the only way I debate. I think it's the only way I could come up on top, to present an argument that no one could really deny is the clearest rendition of what's being presented. So that's my whole approach to things.
Fair enough. Good. That's well, I wish you well. Maybe we can find the answer sometime in the future. Maybe we can get down to it. Brass tacks, like you like to say.
No, this is why I made a video on spilling seed, because I took the time to look at the sources and see what can I present from an objective perspective. Most rabbis nowadays don't speak from an objective perspective. They'll give the opinion of some achron, some rabbi 30 or 100 years ago or 200 years ago. That's just the opinion of a rabbi 200 years ago. But if I'm able to bring my argument straight from the Mishnah, nobody could argue against it. Yeah. It's such a powerful tactic, and I wonder why this is not mentioned enough. I think the main reason it's not mentioned enough is because, 1, people don't know about it, and 2, people don't expect much from their audience. It's true. The average person who goes to a synagogue or a shiur or a Rabbi Mizrahi video will believe whatever that person tells them. I mean, they won't question and say, well, who said it? An Amara? Is it a Tana? Is it a Rishon? I've never heard that. I've never heard till now someone say it's just a medrash. I've never heard till now someone say it's just a minhag. They're always like, this is what the halach is, just because it happens to appear in a book in Hebrew written by some guy with a beard. Okay, there's checks and balances. But I think because I've been in this world for a pretty long time, I think I've been making videos longer than anyone with the exception of Tovia Singer. I've been put on the hot seat long enough that I've evolved this protective barrier that prevents me from being put in a box during the discussion, because I know what works and I know what doesn't work. I think that I've taught myself to think in that manner. Like, how can I get out of this corner that they have me in? And how can I constantly keep the other person in the corner? All my texts, I'm trying to pass them over to you guys. Objective form of debating. That, by the way, could never be successful in a formal moderated debate. And I hate formal moderated debates. I just think they're completely useless. And I've seen it from both ends. Michael Brown gets up there and he's allowed 20 minutes to give an intro or 15 minutes to give an intro, there is no way that the rebuttal that, and at the same time give your intro and in some way put all the cats back in the bag that Michael Brown erroneously let out. There's just no way. All it does is that it confuses the audience, and the person who's the more elegant, articulate speaker seems to come out on top. But if you're having a constant back and forth and you're able to catch the person, boom, boom, that's how you find out who has a better grasp of the notion. But again, even then, it's about who has a better grasp and not which side is necessarily right. Being that there's no perfect system, I think that's a better system. Because you're assuming, like, if you're having a debate, you're going to get the most knowledgeable person from one side to debate the most knowledgeable person of the other side. And if they're both respectful, I mean, I think Michael Brown is semi-respectful. I understand that his show is his show. He has to cut people off at a certain time and speak over them. I understand all that, and I respect that. Above all that, I still think that he's a gracious host compared to most. I think he'll give you the chance to make your argument with enough time. Yeah.